our next guest, who I could not be happier about Curtis getting on the show this morning. And he joins us on the Harbor One hotline, the Stanley Cup winning head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, Bruce Cassidy. Bruce, good morning.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Thanks for being on this morning. It's probably hard to pick one, but I wanted to ask the best moment for you since winning the Cup.
Oh, I would say the moment on the ice, raising the cup. Waited a long time to do that. Great to have my family there. And you know what else was cool was the parade. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch any of that. It was a pretty neat experience going up Las Vegas Boulevard there, and good turnout, and the guys were having a blast. So those were a couple of the better ones.
Yeah, speaking of that, will William Karlsson's public mic time be limited this upcoming season?
He doesn't say much. It's interesting about him. He's a quiet guy. So I thought it was funny. Thought it was, like I said, at the time funny, but I don't know how it went over, how it played here, but at the time we all had a good laugh about it.
How soon, Bruce, after getting to Vegas, did you realize, if you even did, that this team could win it all?
Well, that you never know. I think we started 13-2. I mean, other than the Bruins, we were on fire at the start of the year. So then you start thinking, well, we're pretty good. But I didn't know the West that well, Greg, to be honest with you. So we needed to get through that a little bit, see them a little closer up. But I would say, honestly, once we got past going into the playoffs now, Edmonton, I thought we were as good as anybody left. That was a tough series for us. It was a man's game out there against them. And we were able to beat a real good hockey team. So I thought once we got to the Final Four that, we had an excellent shot.
I was one of the voices, maybe the only lone voice on this show, that was very frustrated when you and the Bruins parted ways. And when Donnie Sweeney came to your home in Winchester to tell you that they were going in a different direction, I think you said that the Bruins was basically tattooed to you. How long did it take for that perception to change, if it has, in your mind? Because I assume the Bruins are no longer tattooed to you.
Well, I honestly think they always will be. It was 15 years, and I grew up a Bruins fan, so that's not going away. I mean, not a fan, obviously, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Bobby Orr's still my idol. I love Ray Bourque, all those Rick Middleton. You go right down the list of guys that I grew up watching, so that'll always be there. But detachment happened for sure. It happens in sports. Just took a while. My kids were, Cole loves the Red Sox, so they're New England born. So that part of it was going to be tough, but that's business. And once you go through it like that, you move on. So, and it helps when you win. Trust me. You kind of have something else to grasp onto. So, love being in Vegas. I born in Canada. I did not spend a lot of Vegas and time in Vegas at all, but it's a great spot. A really, really probably underrated hockey town. How much people are into it there.
Bruce, as somebody who is also a coach, did you know, or were you aware, because it's all speculation, that some of the players might have been a little bit upset with your style of coaching, calling them out in the media? Or was that something that is all false, or you were unaware of it?
Well, there's stuff that, we have end-of-the-year meetings every year from year one on with Donnie about feedback from players, and so stuff's communicated. There's always some players that are going to be easier to coach than others. I think when you have a group of 25 guys, they're not going to hit it off with every guy immediately. So for me, there's always stuff brought up where you can be better. So to me, I wouldn't say specifically player A, B, or C, but just how you communicate or everything, how you run your bench, practices, et cetera. And a lot of it was good feedback too. But there's always stuff you're going to work on. So I would, to answer your question, yes, I was aware of certain players being a little bit less abrasive with them, and others, no. I mean, some players spoke out after about certain things, and that's entirely their right. But as I said, I always talk to Donnie after every year, and I respected his opinion. He's a good hockey guy, so we always got along in that regard.
I think he said afterward in The Athletic that when it came to the difference in the way you may have treated veterans and the younger guys, that would be maybe something that you could take from that experience. So did you change your coaching style in that regard this season?
Well, I don't know a lot. I mean, I always disliked that narrative. I mean, when I took over the Bruins, we brought in Grizzly, Carlo, McAvoy, Lozon, Clifton, DeBrusque, Bjork, Heinen. We brought in a lot of young guys, and some of them had success. Others we moved on for different reasons, but there's a lot of young players, and then it continued right to the end. I thought we brought in some more young guys, and Pasta was a young guy then. So for me, I thought we coached those guys well, to be honest with you, for the most part. And they had success, and they're going to be the foundation of the Bruins probably going forward, some of them. So, and I've kept in touch with some of them, so I don't know that it's all accurate. I think it's more the messaging that the players have, some of them didn't like. But in terms of making them better players, I thought we did a good job as a staff with that. So that's what I took to Vegas. Okay, in today's game, maybe it can't be as direct, especially with the media. But I thought in Boston, it's a little different market. And, they asked a question, I answered it. So that I took with me a little bit is how does it affect everyone else? So be a little more careful. But I've never been a vanilla guy answering questions. And so that part will probably always stay with me.
Let me tell you, as a near boomer, don't change. Like these guys, they're playing in the NHL. They can take a little yelling every once in a while, Bruce, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. We won this year. I thought the players responded well to our coaching as a staff. And so I guess to answer your question, you're always going to change from year to year a little bit. I mean, you got to learn something as you go, right? But in general, our teams have always been accountable, and I thought Vegas was accountable to a style of play this year, and I thought the Bruins teams were. And how I get them to do that, I think, like I said, we'll have discussions about that probably till I retire. So we'll keep working on it.
Bruce, obviously during this offseason, everybody has their eyes on Patrice Bergeron and what his future holds. As a guy who's coached him for quite some time and knows him pretty well, do you think his time on the ice is coming to an end now?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I just know what I read. Me and Patrice exchanged texts when he won the Selke and we won the Cup, so we have a friendship, but I don't get into that now with him. He's had a great career, whatever he decides to do. And the Bruins will miss him when he's gone, and I'm sure they'd love to have him back, but I really don't know the answer. And Kretz, for that matter, either. So at some point, there'll be a changing of the guard for them. Is it now? Like I said, I'm Courtney. I'm not really sure, but the Bruins fans will miss him when he's gone. I know that.
Bruce, just curious, who was the first member of the Bruins organization to reach out when you won the Cup?
Oh, boy, that's a good question because I heard from a lot of people. I heard from Donnie right away, Sweens. I don't know if he was first. A lot of the players I coached, it was a lot of guys from the 19 team. We went through a tough one, right? We lost in Game 7. So guys like Z and that are gone now, Corrali and Nola Chari, that are gone to different teams. I heard Tori Krug. He was probably first. We always had a good relationship, but a lot of the guys were on it, like Bergie, Marge Pasta from that team, Charlie McAvoy. So those were the majority of the guys. I can't remember who it was exactly first, to be honest with you.
We have an ongoing debate with Wiggy about goaltending and tandems. And with the success that Jim Montgomery had, sorry, I'm ill today, using both of those guys during the regular season, were you surprised that he went away from it in that playoff series with Florida?
I don't like that second-guessing game. I don't know. He knows his goalies. There's at the end of the day, that is a debate, and we had it, whether we should do that, because we used 4 guys all year, but that was injury-related. And I think there's going to be a day where they just truly alternate. I think it's going to happen, and live with it, because you do that all year. So can a guy, if you alternate all year, be ready to go for 2 months straight? Some of that depends. Do you finish series early, or when do you rest him if your team has momentum? If you win a game, you pull him out. So I think that's a tough one in hockey, and I think that's why a lot of coaches stay away from it, honestly. They just play the guy that is their guy at the time, and at the end of the day, live with it. But As I said, we've discussed that going into the playoffs, whether we should alternate. But we had an injury this year, so it sort of, and we had to go to our backup because our guy got hurt and it worked out for us, but that was more injury related than strategy.
Are you walking with the cup right now? I would be if I were you.
We get it for a day. I get it tomorrow, though. So I'll be walking. Call me back tomorrow at this time. Well, no, about 9 o'clock, I'll be walking around with it.
Bruce, I know you're bringing it back probably for a lot of friends that you made here in Boston, but there's one family in particular that you're bringing it to Milton for. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Dave and Linda Murray lost their daughter in a boating accident. It's real tragic. She was 13 years old. It was in March about a year and a half ago, and my daughter Shannon was one of her best. They were best friends. They got to know each other at school over at BB&N, and she was away on vacation with her the week before, doing a lot of the same things in the water. So it's one of those ones that hits real close to home. So they're starting the Cassidy Murray Foundation, and when we won the cup, I talked to Linda and my wife Julie talked about it, and said, why don't we bring the cup there and see if we can get it kickstarted? It can be a way to draw some attention to the foundation, get some kids around, get a picture with the cup, and maybe raise a little money. So that's how it started, and we've had good, turnout already in terms of donations from people around town, and it's hopefully be a success. I mean, unfortunately, they'll never get Cassidy back, but if this is a way to keep her memory fresh with them, I think it'll help, and that's what we're trying to do, just do our part.
Did going to Vegas and winning the cup, did that give you any kind of a feeling of vindication? I feel like for me it would, but I don't. You're a very classy guy, so. But was there a moment where you're like, all right, I can do this?
Well, yeah. Well, that part, yes, I can, because I wouldn't say vindicate. Like people ask me, I said, well, I felt I was a good coach even when I left. I did a lot of things well as a coach. I just didn't win the cup here, and that's something that always bothered me more than anybody. So what it did for me was show me that, yes, myself and my staff could win the last game of the season and do it, because it's hard. I went through it 6 years in a row with Boston trying to get there, and you think you have a chance every year. So that's what it did for me. It gave me that sort of boost that, yes, you can win it all. And then you go into a different, sort of coaching company when you do that, just like players. It's a kind of a club that you get into, and it'll always be with you. So that's what it did for me. And I've been at it a long time, to try to do it. It's been a lifelong goal, and here it is.
You never thought about like photocopying your butt and sending that over to them or anything like that?
Do people still do that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Greg does.
I'm showing my age. Yes, Curtis?
Bruce, we talk about this often, and so we have you on the line. It's been my opinion that Patrice Bergeron could have saved your job here, but he elected to go with the organization and keep in that direction. Did you feel that was the case, that veterans could have saved you from getting fired, and what's your feeling on that opinion?
I don't know if they're going to have opinions and should, and I don't certainly put it on Bergie or any one player here. That was a management decision, I feel, and that's how I looked at it. I've like I said, I've remained close with some of those players, and we'll always have a friendship. They played hard for me and our staff in Boston, so. I don't look at it that way. I just feel like Donnie and Cam, they felt they needed a different voice. I think that's what they came out and said. At the time, I disagreed, but that's their call, and it worked out great for me. So at the end of the day, I think it was just their right to do that.
Now, you said you love Vegas, you love the city. Anything that you particularly miss about Boston, living here?
Well, I mean, we come home. We have a place in Cape Cod. I'm here now, and I love this. In the off season, be able to spend time here. My kids love it here. There's 2 great golf courses here, so I miss this. But I wouldn't be here anyway. I'd be working in the winter. So, what do I miss there? Probably the 4 sports. The Pats and the Sox and the Celtics and the Bruins. Kind of the little bit of the competition of being a sports town. Vegas is building towards that. They got the Raiders, but. Right now they're going to get a baseball team. So that part is kind of cool to be around that. There's always a team playing and competing. They have less of that. But I don't miss the winters. I don't miss shoveling, any of that. I don't miss the traffic. I got to tell you, out there, kind of an much easier way of life in terms of getting around. But
Yeah.
those are some of the things.
You got out of here. You got out of here just in time because the millionaire's tax has been implemented,
And they got no state tax in Nevada, so I guarantee you he doesn't miss
Yeah, that
Massachusetts.
helps. I like that part.
Yeah.
Checks look a lot chunkier.
Well, listen, couldn't be happier for you, and I thank you for taking the time, and congratulations. And Donnie has made some off-season moves, but theoretically, I guess maybe Jake DeBrusk could be available. Would you want to do a deal with Donnie for Jake DeBrusk?
Well, listen, Jake's a good hockey player. My job is to get a lot out of him, and that's what we tried to do. And I like him as a guy. I really do. And I hope he does well. I got no ill will towards Jake, to be honest with you. He's a good kid, and hopefully he's part of the core here going forward. But like I said, that's out of my hands.
All right.
Well, Bergeron's a free agent, right? Are you reaching out to
Well,
him?
see, now we can talk about him because he's available.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, any coach in the league would love to coach Bergie. Trust me, and all the players would love to have him on their team. But yeah, that'd be an interesting one.
Well, was it? I think it was last week that we learned that. Was it accurate that Mark Strong called him and Bergie basically said, "You get Bruce Cassidy and you win the cup"? Is that?
I don't know the conversation, but they did call because I told them to. Because after what happened, there's some things that I wanted to make sure that whoever I interviewed with, and I did with a number of teams. Hey, here's some players to call. You can call anyone, but I think there's a team that called Pasta as well, and just because there was some stuff out there that I wanted to correct from players that I'd coached for a while, so they had a conversation for sure. But I don't know the details of it.
All right, Bruce. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. We miss you around here. Congratulations on winning the cup, and enjoy at least we get the cup here courtesy of you. So thanks a lot for doing that and for what you're doing for the community. We appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and hopefully the kids come out and get a picture with it, and if they're able to donate a little to the Cassidy Murray Foundation, that'd be great for everybody. So, again, thanks for having me on.
All right, Bruce Cassidy, thank you very much.